and welcome back to another reaction video. Mr. One Eyes posted a new video a few days ago, and I'm separating this into two parts. And after I make the part one of this, I'm going to record part one of Professor reaction. I'm in my bathroom using Wi-Fi next door because my high-speed data ran out. With all that out of the way, let's get to it.
With Scarlet and Violet's Academy setting, surely when Pokemon finally caught up to Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and started funding their own dual academy, there'd be a lot of talent spawning. A lot of college-educated trainers to try and have a crack at you. Not those self-taught kids who left home at 10, barely learned anything from school up to that point. They still think a Rhombus is that ice fossil Pokemon you get in Kalos. So I've had to jot down every notable character, all the way from Larry to Iono to your mum, to see who's running the streets of Paldea. There's about twice as many trainers here than I was expecting after playing through the game. Academy really gave me a full-on assignment to sort out here. Very immersive, gives you that university
Oh, I love this guy's fucking work.
Experience, at least academically. Because you turn up to 2 lectures and you've never seen your teachers before in your life. I didn't even know you had more than like 2 lecturers, let alone like 10 of them that you could fight on the playground. But can you blame me? None of these kids want to be going to school, wearing uniform, lower half PE kit, top half business studies, the first open world Pokemon game, and you're getting homework. Nah. You want to be out there where the action is. My attendance was minuscule. The teachers would have looked at me like they've seen a shiny. They'd more likely expect a response from the register calling out for golden Magikarp than Senor One-Ups. The academy would have kicked me out quick. By the end of the first semester, I'd have been exiled, catch me living down Hagrid's hut. And here I am in my wee hut, scheming away at how I would rank the 30 sentient NPCs in Paldea. Time teaches all of the STEM lessons down the academy, because knowing fire, weak to water, it's not really an employable skill. It's more of a natural selection type of knowledge. You either get it or you don't. Pretty much when your dreams of being a Pokemon master come crashing down and you've got to play pretend like everyone else and willingly sign up to LinkedIn. She's the teacher you wish you paid more attention to. You'd think at least, because for a science and maths expert, you'd think mathematically, Time should know that rock is an awful type to specialize in. Alright, fair play, the numbers don't lie when it comes to Gorganical. And that Iron Defense body press combo spells disaster for you at recess, so really, that's a one-rock team right there. It's disappointing, because I'd want to imagine the teachers would have Pokemon that help educate within their field. Anywhere from a champ, so kids can count how many fingers he's holding up, to Porygon being made of code. I'm sure Conkelda has himself an engineering B-Tech. Bring him down for a few lectures. And she avoids questions relating to why she quit as a gym leader. No one's asking you that. Rock-type leader? No one's asking why she got the sack. Even the set 8s know why that career ended quickly. Time is definitely that teacher who gets bullied by the class. Oi, Miss Time, did you have to give a badge to the fire alarm that sparked your team out? A perfectly fine tune-up for the first gym leader is Katie. Players aren't going to be struggling because they found her too easily and they're all unprepared. She even intentionally goes easy on you, knowing that you're fresh out of the academy. Her rematch team isn't bad. For a 5-piece bug team, it's solid enough. She's only down the road from where you can get a hold of Cyphers, train up a Sizzle, and she'd be making the dropout rate to the academy reach record high numbers if the first thing those freshers are walking into is the clamps. You have this gym leader who looks like she'd make the most banging brownies you could imagine. Kind of baking skills that have you floating about like an Electros towards her windowsill. Never said a swear in her life kind of person. And in that bag, you think she's got some delicious triple chocolate chip cookies for you, don't you? She whips out 2 menaces who look like they do collabs for muggins. Spinox webs you up while Lockix steals your shoes.
Thin, crispy, buttery, delicious. Taste the love. Taste.
When When you first face Brassius, complete pushover. Your mate's granddad with the greenhouse in his back garden has probably grown eggplants big enough to spark out the first half of his team. I reckon that's why he has to open carry. He knows he's as weak as the paper-mache sunflowers he made for A-level art. Knows all too well that he too is like the sunflower, so weak that if someone wanted to, they could plant him in a tub of soil and he'd have zero say in the situation. Needs that strap on him just in case. The great equalizer knows he probably gets more damage off using Vine Whip himself than any of his team. But that is up until the rematch. The rematch, again, not too bad here. It's average as they come, but at least this team would actually do something about it if you try to wedge him into a pot of soil. But when you're looking at the base 3 Pokemon he uses, really the only thing separating this man and Joaquin the Courier is a big escapade finding Sunflora. Guy's a youngster Joey with a barrier to entry. Guy's a route-filling NPC with an obstacle course in the way. Has you gallivanting off on a little Easter egg hunt just to prove you're worth his time. That's right. All 10 seconds of his precious time that you took out of his day to sweep him. Is Kofu that bad? I mean, he's serviceable enough as...
I mean, his teams are fine. Character-wise, he's great, and I love his little catchphrase thing. Voten Veloza! He's so entertaining.
The gym leader, but willingly using Crabominable alone, that's gonna cap your grade off at a solid D maximum. Only valid reason he'd have for using this sin to humanity is if he's getting groomed up for the kitchen hops. I faced Kofu way too early. He was my second crack at a gym badge, so it was very satisfying once I was champion, where you, the player, get to make the rounds and grade the gym leaders and make sure they're still worthy of being employed. You could kick them off to the streets if you want, throw your championship status weight around. I gotta tell you, Kofu, I'm not liking that Crabominable. I'm gonna have to write you up for this one. I just might have to give you the pink slip. But even without my own personal bias, the fact I almost did him in with only 1 badge when he should be the 4th, that's kind of telling to me. I think the guy just wants to cook. He doesn't see a gym leader team here. He's just looking at next week's specials he's gonna list up for the restaurant. Battling for him is just a convenient way of tenderizing the meat. Gotta slap those rock trio around before taking that rock away and strapping them into a bun. Look, I don't think his team is that bad, but I do think it looks like they would be consumed by the Pelipper. Russia is the suggested last gym leader you take on. I mean, she's only ice. Are you suggesting that? Why's she last? Who's she gonna lead with? Mr. Freeze? I reckon you could make her the 5th badge that you get just from that type alone. She whacks out our last Pokemon like, alright, I think I'll go with the Ontario. Now hold it to Terrestrializing. Give me something to work with here, please. Gym leader Grusher with a team that vulnerable to our half-boiled kettle. Won't be long now till Grusher's getting mad at students always asking her about her gym leader career while she's serving them up sloppy joes down the cafeteria. Dinner Lady Grusher. I know is an interesting one. Shows they are paying more attention to the internet than you'd expect. It's like if they made Larry as a desk job gym leader because he lost all his money on crypto last year. It's interesting seeing them go with a parody of influencers. I would have loved to have seen them go really all in on that. I want a full-on parody PokeTuber. But I understand, I get it. There's only so much you could really pull off. Obviously, there's a good few names of content creators out there that you couldn't take any inspiration from, seeing as the setting revolves around a school, a place which they're not allowed to be within 200 feet of. I actually rate the lineup she has. Maybe not the best electric-type team going, but you gotta say...
It is smart to have a Miss Magius with Levitate and make it electric. That's a very good move for Iono.
Hey, it's got a lot of charm to it, you know what I mean? Reckon she forces her belly bolt to do mukbang streams and all. I can't see this as a piss take on Pokemon creators specifically. She just screams generic e-girl. And in all fairness to her, Iono's got the metagame for being an e-girl on lockdown. You see, the common joke is that feet pics go for top dollar. Everyone's always joking about the feet. I should sell feet pics. I'd sell my feet online for money too. It's rinsed, alright? Enough of that. The market's way too oversaturated for the foot game. It's too much of a dead meat. You gotta get unique. You gotta find a real niche on the market. You know, where's them rear deltoid fetish guys at? I know it's not quite there, but she's still ahead of the game, monetizing them hands too. You don't get to see them for free. The Pokemon world has that logic of that one Jerry Seinfeld bit where if your parents named you Jeeves, you're kind of just destined to be a butler. In Pokemon, this happens on a pure genetic level. If you're someone who was born with spiky dark red hair, your parents are going to name you Smoke Paprika, and legally you're getting Torkoal as your starter Pokemon. You've had your career path established as soon as you're spawned. You're going to make your entire personality revolve around spicing things off and kicking off the heat, and you're going to be the most mid-fire type trainer going. Mera from Team Star is a victim of this. She's okay enough though, at least, but still your base standard fire trainer with an armor rouge and a revel room to ride about on.
Oh, the Charcadet that she's friends with at the academy evolves? Nice. Good for Mela.
Is Geeta the worst trainer here?
Well, she is the worst champion. Worse than the Kalos champion.
Does she have the worst team though? Not really. The Paldean chunk is actually good for the most part, but I've no clue how the self-proclaimed top champion manages to let themselves get swept up so easily by a loud crocodile. The team can be salvaged. That's a fixable situation. The skill issue, that's a lost cause. The lack of battle IQ is staggering. Anytime Geeta spent at the academy, it wasn't paying attention to the teachers, it was spent melting crayons down and huffing them, smashing Pokeballs on the ground during recess, trying to catch the playground so she could take it home with her. Look, trainers, they should be using Pokemon that they just like. Use your Go-Go, use your Avalugg, whatever. But Glimora first, in King Gambit last, at minimum, bare minimum, just like read their...
Yeah, just swap them around and her team is not way better, but still better than it is.
And maybe she could have been at least a minor problem. Down the academy, she must have been sick the day they taught literally anything but fire, weak to water. Top champion knows nothing. Showed up to one lesson. Her complete encyclopedic knowledge of Pokemon caps off at, well, if I buy 10 Pokeballs, I can get a Premier Ball free. Just rocks up in a suit pretending to be important. Pulled a George Costanza and walked into the Pokemon League pretending she had a job there. Hey, she looked the part, so I guess no one questioned it. If you can call yourself the top champion with enough conviction, security won't even check your bags at the door and find out you're a complete fraud. And now everyone knows. Oh, the great La Primera, the second time against Geeta, getting swept by the big spicy crocodile in front of the whole school, the entire city, right in the middle of the high street. La Primera exposed. Dendra is your battle studies teacher, so you'd hope she'd be the hardest teacher going. The one Geeta should have paid more attention to instead of getting her tongue stuck to Avalugg like a frosty lamppost.
Okay, I might just do both reaction parts and then do that Professor one later today.
Fairly spread up.
It makes sense, she's a fighting user. Oh, and she uses both versions of Tauros. Well, the fire and water versions. I like that. Makes sense she has a Medicham since she is friends with that psychic gym leader, Tulip.
Team for the field in which she teaches. You've got your powerhouse, your high flyers, your psychological fighters, military combatants, and a pair of Tauros. Really just throwing these kids straight into the deep end there. Dendra must really be a firm believer of true haki is developed against strong opponents. Locks your Pokeballs up like the AI professor and throws you into the Colosseum up against two Tauros. Koraidon's not feeling froggy enough to save you this time. Your practical assessment, you have two angry Tauros rushing towards you. You have two fists. Pens down when I say your 90 minutes begins. Now, so many fighting types you teach the students. The Hitmons, the Crab, the Grapplot. You have creatures that are genetically born as martial art masters straight out of the egg, and you opt for a pair of bulls? Who's Dendra tutoring exactly? Johnny Knoxville? I can see how some of the Team Star characters were bullied, but man, Atticus, apparently he was bullied for liking old-fashioned things. Oh yeah, or maybe it's because you go about telling people you're a ninja. No one's roasting you in science because you collect vinyl records. Alright, it's because you're 15 and play with cardboard nunchucks you made in DT. I'm all for letting people do what they want, just let them...
I mean, he is badass and looks cool.
but that is natural selection within the ecosystem of school at its finest. He's about one notch away from showing off his Joker impression to all the girls. The guy looks like he's undercover in Splatoon trying to hide that he's a human, and not some weird little squidman. The fashion designer of Team Star, kind of fit you could only wear publicly if you're famous enough to have 10 bouncers around you. Your man's got that Harry Styles dress sense, kind of fit when they're trying to compensate for having zero charisma. As a trainer though, if I took the piss out of this man, I wouldn't come to school tomorrow if he told me not to. I did wonder how Atticus could have such a high-born name with such henchman Pokemon, but his rematch team does change that with Toxapex and Dragowie. Very average team outside of Toxapex, but for what he is, it's a robust enough set there.
Look at the size of these butterfly shrimp. Amazing. Incredible. They're huge. Awesome. Ginormous.
Oh nah, hey, someone did my man Salvatore dirty with that trim. Went down to Turkish barber golems like, hey boss, hey, give me that ultra ball. Mentally, he must be very strong. Somehow hasn't been bullied into joining Team Star with that trim. His team isn't amazing. A bit Pokemon Stadium rental looking. He gathered this up last minute from the Lost Property section for Sports Day. Nothing too stand out, but nothing too offensive either. But having the great privilege of a mixed team already puts him above a good chunk of the gym leader.
Yeah, having a mixed team's always good.
It's definitely not the sort of team that you'd need to beat to gain custody of Berserker's younglings.
Yeah, that's the first class I'm gonna do when I finally have my Switch. Literally that and the one that shows you how to get those legendaries of Ruin are the ones I'm gonna be doing first.
Oh, you'd have to beat as many ex-wives team of highly paid lawyers for that one, or at least you'd have to beat a team of the hardest grog consumers, the Crab, Grappalocked, Galarian Wheezing. I reckon Rella has a mean bev or two. He does look very jolly, an absolute animal on the fruities. Miriam's team may not be sending you to the hospital. I doubt she'd even want that. I mean, why would she give herself more work patching up all of these dusty students popping in and out of existence? But see, this is the exact kind of team building I want for more characters and Pokemon to have. All of Miriam's Pokemon are based on the subject of medicine and healing. It's not just a bunch of fairy types, because Chansey's pink. Hypnotherapy, acupuncture, aromatherapy, cryotherapy, a defibrillator or leeching, and Toxapex, acupuncture and venom is a good little set to have for the subject of medicine, instead of just having Blissey and that one from Unova, I forget it. That's a really interesting set of mons to have down the nurse's office in school. Imagine having to get your jab done by an Electros or Glalie, the inviting face you see down the nurse's reception. Yeah, what's that? You scraped your knee? Yeah, sit down over there and have a lollipop, big. It's one thing thinking the Elite Four setup was a bit bland in Paldea, but what threw me off was finally being able to go into that cave next to your school, and it wasn't some big dungeon. Yeah, legally, we can't do the Victory Road cave anymore. It's kind of like our Mount Everest. Yeah, a lot of bodies go in and they're never really found again, and that's a lot of 10-year-olds piling up, eh? So we'll just have you fill out a few questions here instead. With how the fan base has reacted, I reckon the majority would have an easier
A little longer, and I'll split this in half.
time walking through every road unarmed, then make direct eye contact with Riker long enough to get for a sit-down interview. Look, I know everyone loves Riker, but as a man who has zero interest in being stepped on by fictional characters, I can speak objectively here and say the team's lacking a bit. Not impressed. Sheer charisma is holding Riker up, because the team is very much an Elite Four warm-up set. It's half decent, but I'm still not a fan of Pokemon League trainers not having a full team. But I can let this one slide a little bit for not having the full six-pack. I mean, Clodsire is worth a whole crate of Pokemon. A complete barrel of a specimen. You need to save a whole box in the Pete.
One of the best Pokemon of all time. Fucking love Clodsire.
See, just to get all 500 pounds of him wedged in there. So Team Star's origin is that they were all outcasts, bullied by the NPC students, their little shorts, their little suspenders, that would have gotten themselves bullied had they gone to literally any other school. Ortega is an Atticus level of self-inflicted, because he looks like a baller, in all fairness. He's looking pretty fresh. I'd love it if it was socially acceptable to just dress up like this anywhere, but that doesn't fly in school. You need to be self-aware of the risk that you're setting yourself up to be a school-wide meme, a complete inside joke for the rest of your school career. Because if you rocked up to a non-uniform day with this fit, Kane especially, you're asking to be shoved into a locker. Your pockets might be well tailored, but they're gonna be a repellent to lunch money. This is self-inflicted. You got yourself put in Team Star here. You'd never hear the name Ortega again. You'd be Willy Wonka for the rest of your school tenure. But when you look at his team, you clock the Azumarill, the Hatterene, even the Klefki is a pretty solid hand. He's got some of the backup to wear any fit he wants. If you think you're gonna get a cheap pop from the crowd in the classroom, like, oi look, here comes Willy Wanker, the banner better be worth it, because he has the manpower to make you one of his Oompa Loompas. If the human Hatterene steps up to you with its Freddy Krueger claws up to your throat, you're gonna dance about, you're gonna do your little rhymes, and you're gonna make some chocolate. I'm gonna have to agree with the criticisms Paldea's Pokemon League has for being a bit too sterilized. Felt like you're walking into a dentist appointment or Kanye West.
Yeah, that does suck. And what sucks worse is that you can only face the Elite Four once. Why can't we face them multiple times? That's stupid.
Organization 13 house. But once you find out Larry is one of the main eventers, it all starts to make sense. This Pokemon League is not flashy, no grand arenas, no big crowds, but I have to say, it's very efficient. He must be behind the logistics of it all, like, right, that's it, no nonsense, no high maintenance lava pools, no 50-foot tall boxing rings, and definitely none of them fancy lanterns that set off as you walk up the stage, none of that. Due to budget cuts, we've also had to scrap Victory Road. The investors, they just see it as a bunch of filler anyway. These trainers can prove themselves the old-fashioned way, with a well-ironed shirt, the CV, and a sit-down interview. And there's only going to be one arena for all four of us now. We'll each take turns and fight in the cost-efficient Combat Cube. Larry has the privilege of being a simultaneous gym leader and Elite Four member. He has the privilege of being Pokemon's biggest wagey. Your man's briefcase must be stacked up with divorce papers, got them Ric Flair levels of alimony to pay off, and he's a top 5 trainer, and he still isn't earning enough to make a living wage. He's still doing his 9 to 5 dishing up ramen. He might do a gym battle here and there in a smoke break, if a challenger happens to show up, but the normal type team for the gym, the flying type team for the real test. When he's not on the Elite Four payroll, you're getting the normal team. He's not getting paid enough to give you the big boys. Larry, though, he's a fairly mid-tier trainer either way, but there is a distinct enough difference between them. He makes sure not to bring Elite Four level strength to a mid-tier gym. Goes from yawning and glaring at you down the gym, but once you step in to the cost-efficient Combat Cube, the top button gets undone. Yeah, none of that yawning. Oi, Flamingo. Shock is throaty. The biology teacher, Jacques, is overall one of the more robust trainers here. Has no gimmick, no gym leader obligation to force him into using only one type of Pokemon. The man's just a science teacher. If he wants a pet Slowbro and an Arcanine, let the man have them both. Arcanine does seem destined for him though. The one he had no say in the matter of because of what I said earlier. If you're born into the Pokemon world with a trim like that, you get an Arcanine as your first Pokemon. Simple as. I don't care if you wanted Swampert. You'll eat what you're given. Should have been born with 2 Mohawks instead. So his team seems fairly well balanced for an in-game character. Maybe Jacques' team are all biology related, but my brain is too smooth to comprehend it. I'm sure he's getting a lot of mileage teaching students biology through these 6. All very different creatures. It's a wide biological spectrum to have, from a big horse all the way to Swallow. Also tries his hand in general studies. No clue what that means, really. Bit of a broad statement. I didn't have it where I'm from. But if it's what I think it is, it could explain some of his choices. Alright, today, class, we're going to be going over contraception. That's why I've brought in Slowbro here. to show yous how to wrap it up. If you don't have access to contraception, I've also brought in swallot to demonstrate what you could do instead. Your man Giacomo?
Okay, I'm cutting it here. I'll see you guys in part 2 after this is posted.